Hello and welcome to our Stay Healthy at Home webinar series. We are talking about navigating the web of online communications for staff and self-advocates today. This is week 8 of our whole webinar series on Tuesdays. Thanks for joining. So just to get started with housekeeping, you have your control panel. Any questions, comments, or feedback, just place it in the questions box and I will be able to see it. If it has to do with a technical difficulty or something that's going wrong technically, Frankie is nearby to help with those issues as well. You'll also see that you have a handout. I have included a Zoom cheat sheet, so you can download that at your convenience if you have a need for it. Zoom is a little complicated and we will be going over it, but I thought that was just helpful for everybody to have a copy of it as well. So I am Erin Smithers, the Information Referral Coordinator for the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project. We have been a division-funded program of the ARC of New Jersey since 1983. We support the state's largest network of individual self-advocates and self-advocacy groups. We also provide comprehensive training and resources to self-advocates, direct support professionals or DSPs, and agency personnel. So today we're going to discuss how to stay connected while we are all participating in the stay-at-home order. We're going to explore some apps and programs that can help you stay connected online. And then we're going to discuss some basic internet safety tips as well. So let's get started. We're going to start talking about how to stay connected with some free options. So these are 8 different apps or programs that are available for you to use. Mostly they participate in video chatting, which is, I feel, a little bit more beneficial than texting or even phone calls. It's always nice to be able to see the other person. So starting at the top row from the left, we have Facebook Messenger, then FaceTime, HouseParty, and Skype. And the bottom row, we have WhatsApp, we have Marco Polo, Zoom, and Google Meet. So just a quick poll. I wanted to know if you're familiar with these programs, if you've never heard of them, if they're brand new to you, or if you use them sometimes. So I'm going to start the poll. We're going to take some time just to let everybody answer and give it about a minute. So we're just specifically talking about those 8 apps. They're kind of, you know, the most popular ones aside from Facebook and Instagram. So apps like Marco Polo, WhatsApp, Skype, HouseParty, Google Meet, and Zoom. So again, the options are I've never used or heard of most of these apps. I have used these programs once or twice. I use these regularly, or if there's another option, just type in your option in the questions poll. It looks like voting has stalled, so I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, share these results with you. So 7% has never used or heard of most of these. 43 have used these once or twice, 36% use them regularly, and 14% are other. So we have for other, you're aware but haven't used them, you've used a couple but not all, and then the specific apps that you have used. Thanks so much for participating in the poll. So those were our free options, and we're going to go more into depth in them with them a little later. Right now, I want to focus on some paid options as well. So these are kind of the 3 most popular paid options you can use for staying connected, and they're pretty much used for professional purposes. So we have Zoom on the left, and for all of these, there's different tiers. So depending on how many features you want, how many people you would like to participate, how often you want to use it, you have different options. So Zoom on the left has tiers up to $20 a month, which isn't bad. You will note that Zoom was in the free options. So Zoom is actually free for up to 40 minutes. If you would like to hold sessions that are longer than 40 minutes, you have to pay for that, or you could close out the session and restart it again. So it's in both. There is a free option, but if you wanted to pay to have more participants and a longer session, they have different tiers for that. You can access all of that information at www.zoom.com. It'll explain what you get at the different tiers and what is available. Otherwise, if you just go to Zoom and download the app, you can use it on your phone or your laptop. It is free. You can sign up with a login, but you don't need to enter any credit card information. That's only for if you want longer than 40 minutes. The middle one is what we're using now, GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar, and they have a lot of different tiers. They have a lot of different options too. So it says up to $429 a month, but there are definitely options that are a lot more affordable. They do have a lot more features than the other programs if you're looking for something to do trainings with or webinars, right? That's what we're using now. You guys just took a poll, so they have that option. They have handouts, and we're going to go into specifics later. And the third one on the right is Ring Central. So they are mainly a phone conferencing program. They can give you a dedicated phone line, which is great for if you have a lot of people working remotely, like my program. The majority of us do work remotely, but we are all able to have an extension at the main office through using Ring Central. So we can have our dedicated line that will forward to our cell phones or just go to our business answering machine. They also do have a video chat option. So you can use it to video chat and video conference with people, and you can also use it for text messaging, which is really great, especially with our population, our community. Text messaging is kind of just so easy, and it's great to be able to accept text messages to a business line. That's not normally the case. So they have tiers and options, and they go up to $50 a month, which isn't bad either, because you do get a lot for that. And their website is just ringcentral.com. So I want to now talk about the big three that you use in the professional world. So you've most likely, if you've been attending webinars or town halls or other trainings during the stay-at-home order, you've most likely used at least one of these. You're all on GoToWebinar right now, so you can say you have used that. But there's Zoom, which is wildly popular, and Google Meet. And we're going to go over those options. I just have another poll really fast to help me better understand what kind of questions that you're looking for. So I want to know what your role is when you're participating in these trainings, or on why you're interested in learning about how to use these programs. So the options are: you're a participant, you're attending the trainings, you're viewing them, you're a trainer, you're hosting the trainings, or there's options for you haven't used them at all, or other. So if you select other, just pop your other in the questions box. Karen, you don't have to worry about the first poll. I only briefly went over the apps that were mentioned. I'm going to go over them in depth later on, so you didn't miss that. So I'm just going to wait a little bit longer for the poll. It looks like so far the majority of people are participants. So right now I'm going to close the poll. We have a very high percentage participation rate, which is awesome. Thank you again so much for participating in the poll. So we have 63% of people who answered are participants. So you're here to just view the trainings and to learn. 26 are trainers or hosting trainings. 4 hasn't used any of these programs yet. And let's see, I have 7% say other. Not a problem. This is awesome. So we're going to go through each of these and talk about them in detail. So by the end of this training, you'll all be very well versed in all of these programs. So we'll start with Zoom. If you haven't used Zoom, you've probably most definitely heard of Zoom. It has become extremely popular since the coronavirus started and the stay-at-home order was put in place. Basically, what Zoom is a video chat program. So you can have people come on using either a phone or a laptop, and you can see each other. The great thing about Zoom is that it has phone conferencing. So if someone is unable to get to like a video screen on their laptop, or they're actually don't have the app on their phone and they can't get to it, you can phone call in and have an audio setting. So if you can't use your screen, you can still call in and participate in the training or the meeting or whatever you're using Zoom for. You also have the option to share your screen. So again, it's great for doing presentations or trainings. Something cool about Zoom is there's a whiteboard, so you can draw on it. You can have other people in the meeting draw with you. So this is something that Frankie introduced us to, and now my family uses, and we play a lot of drawing games together. Like I said before, Zoom is free for up to 40 minutes. It has up to the capabilities for having 100 or up to 100 participants. You can schedule meetings. There's a waiting room, which can be important. A waiting room is basically a place where people are waiting before the presentation, and you have access on who to let in and who not to let in. So with Zoom, you have a password capability. So if you want a password, you can put one in, and then you'll see everybody who's trying to come in. The good thing about Zoom is that you can toggle that on and off. So if you don't want people to have to wait in a waiting room and you just want anyone to come in, which a lot of people are doing when they're just holding trainings or webinars, they're just letting anybody come in. If you're using Zoom for something that's a little bit more private, like a staff meeting, you might want to install a waiting room. That way you know who is coming in and you have control over that. And then with Zoom, unfortunately, there are privacy issues, but a good rule of thumb, I like to say, whenever you're posting online or talking online, is to just always act like someone else is listening in. With Zoom, there have been issues where they're found to record sessions and listen in on sessions. We'll talk about this with all of the programs so that you know which ones are a little bit more secure. But again, a good rule of thumb is just to make sure you aren't saying anything you really wouldn't want everyone to hear, because you really never know when someone is listening or recording or sitting in. So we're going to go through how to use Zoom. It is a little bit more complicated than the other programs, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. So it might be a little pixelated too on your end. Let me know in the questions if it's really hard to see. But so this is kind of your home screen. Over here it says back to meeting. That's because I'm in a meeting. Normally it would say start a meeting. Then you have the join button if you want to join a meeting that's already in progress. And then you have down below the schedule button. and we're going to go through that. So it's very easy to schedule a training. You can change the topic or the title, the date, and the time you want the meeting, and then there's an option to have it be a reoccurring meeting, which again is great for staff meetings. You have your meeting ID, so they can generate one for you, or you can use your own ID. Here's where you would set the password, and you can change that to whatever you want. Here are the options to have the video automatically come on for the host, and for the participants, I recommend leaving it off and letting everyone else decide if they want to have their video on. Most people don't like to have their video on when they first pop on. Then you have the options for how to send it. Google Calendar is just the most popular. And then down in advanced options, you have where you can enable the waiting room. So you can toggle that on or off. You have enable join before host, which means that people can pop into the meeting before the host is there. You have mute participants upon entry. I always recommend keeping that one on. Again, just having everyone muted when you start the meeting is just super beneficial, and then giving them the option to unmute if they want. And then I always keep on automatically record the meeting too, so I have a copy of my training, and then just hit schedule. It's very easy. And we'll talk about share screen a little later. So up here you have some more options where you can chat with your contacts. You can see all of your meetings, your upcoming, the ones that are recorded, and get your ID number. And here's how you set up your contacts. Over here's the home box, so you have the date and the time, and then underneath any other meetings that you have scheduled for that day in Zoom. Then you have some settings over here where you can adjust the theme, your reaction skin tone if you want. You also have accessibility and video options. Your audio options. So if the speaker is a little low, you can adjust that there. If you think that you're coming out really loud, you can adjust that here as well. And then there's all the other options. So accessibility is a good one too. That's where you can adjust the closed caption size and the font size. So let's just jump into the meeting and see the settings when you're in it. So this is the host view. You'll see over here I have the participants and I have someone coming in. So I can message her here and let her know if we are starting late or if there's an issue and I need her to hold on. I can remove her if I want, if I don't want her in the meeting, but I'll let her in. So I just hit admit and her video is going to pop up, but you'll see down on the left, I'm still muted and my video is not started because that's the options that I set up. So I have the option to start my video. And I can unmute myself over here. I also have access to more settings. And then over here in video, choose virtual background. This is where you might see people that have the background. It doesn't really work on my setting. You can kind of see it in the photo. To turn it off, you would just hit none and then back out of the settings. So this is how you can toggle the participants on and off so you can see who's in the meeting. You'll notice over there also you can see who's muted. And then hitting the chat button brings up the chat. I have access on who I want to talk to, and I can click that there and then type in a message. I can add a file, or I can decide who the participants can chat with too. If I don't want them to be able to chat, if I want them to be able to chat with everyone, those options are there. Up here you have your views. So there's gallery view where they're all listed right next to each other. You can see everybody who's participating, or just the speaker view. So whoever's speaking would pop up big, and everybody else would be up on the top. There's reactions down here. If something happens, I can applaud or I can give a thumbs up, and she gave a thumbs up too. So with Zoom, you have the option to share your screen, and there's the whiteboard I was talking about. If you have other windows open, it will give you more options underneath. You have the option to share your sound. And if you had a training, it would pop up under there too. So I'm just gonna start this training so you can see what that looks like. Close out here, start this training. And it's just gotta load. Here we go. So I'll start from the beginning. This is our online dating and online safety training. So I want to share my screen. I select Keynote and then I hit play. But you'll see up here is where my options go, my control panel. So it just all moved to the top and I still have all the same options I had before. I can share a new screen, I can pause my share, I can annotate, or I can have other people annotate as well in this option. I can see the chat, I can record, and I can also end the meeting from up here. So we're gonna play. And so now I'm sharing my screen. And so anyone who's in the training would be able to see my presentation. So when I'm done, I can either close out the screen or I can go up into my options. So we'll go through the whiteboard really fast. This is what I was talking about where you could draw. And what she is seeing right now is the whiteboard. She's seeing pretty much what I'm seeing. So she has the people on the side and the whiteboard in the middle. Again, all of my options are up top. And then for the whiteboard, you have options to text, to draw, there's stamps, there's the eraser, and then under format, you can change the color, the font size, and then you have clear, and you could even save the picture if you want. So when I'm done, I can go to stop share. Here's how you would enter full screen too. Same thing, you have access to all of your control panels and the different views. And down here are all of my control panels again, just like in when it's not full view. When I click on my screen though, I have other options as well to stop the video or unmute. And then over here, I want to go over really fast. In the participants is where you can invite people or mute, and you have all these other options. You can lock the meeting so no one comes in. If I want to invite more people, there's a few ways to do that. So I can go to the bottom and copy the link to send to someone, or I can copy the whole invitation, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if I paste this in an email, you'll see that it gives the link, and then it also gives the meeting ID and the password. So they could either click on the link and be brought right into the waiting room, or they can manually enter in the meeting ID and the password. And then if we go back to the invite box, you can see up top, it has the meeting ID number as well. I can also go into this option and just send it straight from there. And down at the bottom is where my password is. So there's a few ways that you can do that. To end the meeting, just simply hit end. And then you have the option to either end the meeting for all or just personally leave the meeting and keep the meeting going for everybody else. So that is basically Zoom. Like there's a lot to it, but once you start using it, you get the hang of it, and it is kind of all labeled, but there is a lot. So we'll go onto Google Meet, which is a lot simpler. So don't forget you have that Zoom cheat sheet handout as well. So if you have any questions, or if you want to, go back to something, that cheat sheet is there for you to download in PDF form, which pretty much explains everything I just walked through. There are pictures. It's really easy to read. But so let's start with Google Meet, which is the next big option for professional use. So it does a lot that Zoom does. It has video chat, you can phone conference in, you can share your screen. It is completely free though. There is no limit on how long you can have a meeting. You can have up to 250 people. There is a waiting room, and I have not figured out yet how to turn that off. I think it's automatic. So if you are using Google Meet, just try to wait until everybody's in the meeting, until you start to present. Because if you're starting to present and you're sharing your screen and then people are coming in after, you have to actually get out of sharing your screen, accept them in, and then go back in. So it can kind of take up some time, and it can be it kind of can break up concentration. So I recommend, even if you just start a little bit late, just try to wait until everybody's in. And you can schedule meetings too. There are some privacy issues. Google Meet has come to say that they do record sessions. They store your recordings, and they do have the option to sit in and listen to what you're talking about. So again, go back to that golden rule that you wouldn't want to post or say anything you wouldn't want everybody to hear or see. So here is a video about Google Meet. Much simpler. So to access Google Meet, you would just go into the website, meet.google.com. And the cool thing about Google, is just a nice little feature, is that they always have artwork on the background. And every time you refresh or you go in, you'll get a new piece of art to look at. And at the bottom, you'll see what it's called, who made it, and where you can access it. You'll have your hub over here so you can join or start a meeting, and if you have anything scheduled. So if you want to start a meeting, you enter in the meeting code or the nickname if the meeting's already in progress, or you make your own up. So don't mind these notifications. I have them set up on my computer. This is what you'll see. So you can join now, or you can just automatically present. Then it will pop up and let you know how to invite other people in. And this can be set up ahead of time as well. So if you want to schedule a meeting, you can just give them that information. So I would just copy it, put it in the email, and send it out. Hello again. So it is so much simpler. Up top, you just have the chat participant button, where you can see who is in the meeting. You can add people in either through the invite, their email, or their phone number. And your chat box. So again, you can chat to everybody. There is no option to chat to one person or a group specifically. So you would be talking to everybody. What's really good about this though, and just like Zoom, is if everybody is muted, you still have that way to communicate. So sometimes I like to include quizzes in my trainings, and this way I can see all of the answers without having everybody unmute themselves. So if you hit that 3 dots at the bottom there, you can go into full screen. You have some extra settings there, and you can change the layout. So they have a little bit more options. The sidebar, the tiled like in Zoom, and the spotlight. So whoever is talking is going to be the enlarged photo in sidebar and in spotlight. I personally prefer tiled, but it is just a personal preference. So down there you have the present now options. Over here you have where you can mute yourself, where you can leave the call, and where you can turn off your camera. Over here again is just the training information. I can add attachments and I can find out the dial-in number if someone wants to call in or get the website, the link. So now we're going to present. So it would just present my whole screen, or if I had a training up, it would give me the option to just present the training. So this is what you're going to see. You're going to see you're presenting to everybody. She literally just sees my whole screen. So she sees everything I'm doing right now because that is what I selected. So again, if I just had a training up, she would only see that training if that is what I selected. I can see who's muted. If I'm done presenting, I just hit stop presenting, very easy. And then to leave the call, I would just hit this button. Sometimes you might accidentally leave, so you can hit rejoin, you'll go right back in, or you can just go back to the home screen and start a new meeting or wait for your next meeting. Up here you have some settings. You don't have as many as Zoom. So you would have just the microphone and the speaker settings, video settings, and that's it. Google Meet is so much more simpler than Google Zoom, as in the features that it has. But it is a really good option for schools because you can have up to 250 people. One thing you should remember is that the more people you have in your presentation or your meeting, the choppier the video and the audio might get. So while you can have 250 people, you might not want 250 people. But like I said, it's good for schools. A lot of schools I work with are using this because it is completely free and it's very simple and easy to use. And you have the option to call in from a phone. You can go on your laptop. So it just works out really well. I've done a few trainings through Google Meet so far, and it's worked out really well. So finally, we'll talk about GoToWebinar, which is what we're using right now. Just like the other ones, it has the video chat option, phone conferencing. I can share my screen, obviously. We can do polls, handouts, and videos. As you've seen, we've done all of those. It is very secure. That's one of the reasons why you pay a lot for this service. They take that very seriously to ensure that what you're doing is only shared at your request. So if you want to record it, you have that option too. They do not store anything. You can have the option for up to 10,000 participants. You can schedule trainings. And then they have something called SimuLive, which is pretty cool. So what we're doing right now, our presentation is being recorded. So I can then take that recording and set up a SimuLive broadcast where I play this recording as a webinar. Everything I'm saying right now would be included in that presentation, and all I would have to do as a presenter is just kind of sit back and answer questions as they come in. I wouldn't have to say everything I am saying now. It would just automatically be saved because it's part of the recording. So it is really great if I want to replay this webinar again for maybe a group of people who weren't able to participate today, or maybe I want everybody to have a refresher in this. I can replay this as a SimuLive recorded video later on. And again, it's really easy for me because all I would have to do is sit back and just answer questions. So you have a dashboard with GoToWebinar. You would just go to your event detail page. This is our webinar that we're in right now. So I'll just go through some of the settings. You can see who the panelists are and the organizers. You have the option to add payments. I haven't ever participated in that, but in settings, you have the call-in number. And it's all pretty easily broken down and very easy to understand. So in Share Event, I have the link that I can send to people with the webinar ID. Under registration, I can set the registration limit, and I can see how many people registered. I can also set up a password in here. And then to engage my attendees, this is where I would insert, we have a survey that goes back after every webinar that we do, so that's automatically set up. I can add polls here. So I just enter in my question and then the answers underneath. You can have up to 5 answers. If you want to add another answer, just simply click add another answer. If you decide you don't want it, just hit the trash can, it gets rid of it. With the multiple choice with 1 answer, you do have to have at least 2 possibilities for them to choose. This is where I would add my handouts. Just drag and drop, very simple. I can have up to 5. And there's different programs I can use too to upload it. Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox. And then for videos, if I want to add any videos, same thing. I could just drag and drop. I can add up to 5 videos, or I could use another program to upload the video. You can also add a YouTube link in there, which is really great. So you don't really have to leave your training to go into a separate window to start YouTube. It'll keep the YouTube video in your control panel, which we'll go over now. So there's 2 different views. There's the host view, and then there's the participant view. Obviously, you are familiar with the participant view. It's what you're using right now. The only difference is I added a handout, so you have handouts right here. And then while we were doing this training, Frankie added in the movies that I have in my presentation too. So you have the option to download those if you would like as well. So you'll see you have your question box. This is where you can mute yourself. And then right over here, you have a little hand with the green arrow. That's just a raise your hand button. So if you had a question, you wanted to be addressed on something, you just hit that and it'll raise your hand. But the host view is a little bit more advanced, I guess. We have a lot more options. So if there's different webcams or videos I'm using, I have that option. I have option to control the audio and my dashboard, which is basically just seeing how long I've been talking, who's here, who left, how many questions there are. It's very informative. I also have access to the polls, the questions. I have a chat where I can talk to other hosts or panelists, and then the handout box as you have. So it is a little different. There is a lot of features that you can use. There's even a lot more than I even mentioned. I'm just trying to do like the general usage of the program, but there is an option to add in quizzes and to bring in other links from other websites. And you can find all that just by going on their website. GoToMeeting.com has so much information on how to dive even deeper into what their program is able to do. So we talked about the professional aspect of staying connected and working from home, but let's talk now about maintaining personal connections. So these are the apps that I mentioned before, and I'm just going to go in and show you how to use them and the features that they have. So Facebook Messenger, I feel like we're all very well versed in Facebook Messenger, but if you're not, this is what it would look like. And I apologize, I have an iPhone, so a lot of my pictures are from iPhones. I did find some that are not iPhones, but it shouldn't look too different from one phone to another, or even from a laptop to a phone. So the great thing about Facebook Messenger is that you don't need phone numbers to contact someone. You can just contact anyone that's already on Facebook. So you can video chat with anybody, you can text anybody, and you can call anybody that you are connected to on Facebook. So the next bullet point is they are not end-to-end encryption enabled, which going forward, we're just going to call end-to-end or E2EE. What that means is they reserve the right to sit in, to listen to your sessions, or to record your sessions. A lot of this, they say, is for your benefit. So if you want to get a hold of your sessions, or if someone needs to get a hold of it for a, for a court session or something like dealing with legal issues, they have that option to search Facebook's data banks, and they would have everything recorded. However, Facebook has promised to become encrypted. They just have not yet. So they've promised not so recently, and they're still not encrypted. So again, anything you say on Facebook or in Facebook Messenger could be recorded and stored, or someone could be sitting in and listening. The cool thing about Facebook Messenger is they have filters and games. So if you do a video chat, you can add filters. It's a lot of fun, especially if you're video chatting with younger kids. They always love that. You have the option, like I said, chat, video call, and you can group video chat. So if you have a group of people, you can all video chat together, which is really cool. FaceTime is an Apple-to-Apple communication, so any Apple device to another Apple device you can use FaceTime with, a MacBook to a phone even, which is really nice if you have a lot of people in your life that have Apple devices. So FaceTime is just automatically on your phone. You do not need to download a new app. When you go to make a phone call, you'll see right here at the bottom row is just the option for FaceTime. You hit that and then you're in. And Apple kind of makes everything easy where everything's labeled. So you'll see effects, mute, flip the camera, and then end. It's all very easy to use. They are end-to-end encryption enabled, so they do not store your videos and they do not record them. They have filters, would be under effects right here. And you can also group video chat on this as well. So to do that, you could add a call in, or if you have a group of people, you can push the FaceTime button when you're in that text message for that group. Again, if you don't have an Apple device, or if a lot of people in your life do not have an Apple device, this is not really useful. So we'll move on to HouseParty, which is a free app that anybody can download on any device. It's a lot of fun. You video chat, but it has games. So you see the 4 games it has over here: Heads Up, Trivia, Chips and Guac, which is like apples to apples, and Quick Draw. So again, they're not end-to-end encryption enabled, so people they reserve the right to record or listen in on your parties. You can text people as well as video chat with them. But the cool thing about HouseParty is it acts like an actual house party where you might go into a room and meet people you don't know. Because with this function, with this app, you are able to have anybody come in. So I can just randomly pull up the app and join any room that's already in session that is not locked. If you see on the first picture at the bottom, there's a lock screen, a lock picture. So you can push that and lock the room so it's just the people that's in it. But a lot of people like to meet new people, and so you can join any random room. You can also invite your friends and have your friends invite their friends, so you're meeting their friends of a friend of a friend. So that's the cool feature about HouseParty. Then there's Skype, which is like the OG of video chatting, right? It's a very old program, one of the first. It is end-to-end encryption enabled, so they say they will not record your sessions or listen in, but it is a basic program. It's just chat, video, and calls, right? You also have the option to leave messages in chat, but that's it. It's just very simple, very easy to use, and they've been doing it for a long time, so you know that they kind of know what they're doing. And then there's WhatsApp. So WhatsApp used to be a text application that you had on your phone, and you could just text message people. You could text message any device that app. So the good thing about WhatsApp is that they're going off the assumption that you already have this app in your phone because it was very popular. A lot of people use it, and they just recently added video chatting. So you're going off the assumption that you already have this app and now you can video chat. So that's the good thing about it. It is free if you don't have it though. And I just want to note, I've also included up in the corner here the icons for each of these, so you'll know if you're downloading the right app. With WhatsApp, you can invite up to 4 people to chat with you. It is encrypted, so they say they will not record your sessions or listen in, and you have the option for chat and video. Again, pretty simple, no bells and whistles. It does what it's supposed to do. Then the next one, which is pretty cool, I use this in my family, is Marco Polo. So it acts like a walkie-talkie. This is really good for people who are in different time zones or have very different schedules and have a hard time connecting with each other. So if you look at the picture, you'll notice there's a big video up top, and then there's smaller separate videos at the bottom. So how it works is you leave a video clip for either another person or a group of people, you decide, and then they can watch that at their convenience and leave a video reply. And you watch that at your convenience, and someone else can leave a reply, but it's all done at your convenience. So if you find that you're working when someone else is available, you can leave them a message and they can check it when they have time. So it's a good way to stay connected. You can do short little clips, you can leave emojis. It's really easy if, like I said, you have trouble connecting with people just because of schedules, or if you're working and you're very busy and you just don't have time to sit down and have a whole video conversation with someone. This is a good way to still let someone know that you're missing them, that you care about them in a short clip. I want to go over that it is not end-to-end encryption enabled. So they reserve the right to record your videos, and they say that is why, because all of your videos are being saved in the app, so that way the other people can look at it when they want to. If they weren't able to save your videos, the app wouldn't be what it is. So just keep that in mind. They do have access to your contacts as well, because again, that is how they get in touch with these other people on the app. So again, just keep that in mind if you're thinking about talking about state secrets, right? You just don't want to say anything that you don't want anyone else to know. So Google Duo, you might not have heard of, but it's Google's dedicated video chat. So that's all it does. There's no bells and whistles, but it has very high quality video and low latency, which is a high responsiveness. So if you've used other apps and other programs and you find the video choppy, or you're always getting cut off, or there's no service, Google Duo might be something you want to try, because that is basically what they're known for. It is extremely high video quality, which is really good. But again, it's a basic program. You can have up to 12 people. And with Google Duo, unlike Google Meet, they do take the security with this program very seriously. So when I was doing research on it, all I could find is like how serious they take your privacy. They do not record your videos, so you can feel a little bit more confident. And Snapchat, pretty popular. It's a video chat messaging. There's really not a lot of live talk. So again, you leave a message or a picture for someone and they respond when they can. It is end-to-end encryption enabled, so they're not stored, they're not listened in. There's lots of filters. It's like one of the most popular apps where you can get filters, right? Everybody's seen the puppy dog filters for your face, and there's a lot of games you can play as well. The good thing, the whole thing about Snapchat too, is that when you're done looking at someone's picture, it just disappears. They delete it, it's gone forever. And if you snap a picture of it, if you do a screenshot, it lets the other person know. So there is no way to sneakily get the photo that you're being sent without the other person knowing. And lastly, there's live videos that you could do to stay connected with people in your network. There's Instagram and Facebook are the two biggest places where you most popular where you could do live videos. They are not end-to-end encryption enabled, so again, just be very careful what you're saying. Just always act like someone's possibly recording your session. The cool thing about these live videos is that you can bring people on screen with you, which a lot of celebrities are actually doing right now. They'll go on Instagram Live, they'll start a live video, and then they'll just bring random viewers on screen and talk to them, and it's really cool. You might have the opportunity to ask someone a question you've been dying to know, or just talk to your favorite celebrity or musician, author, whomever. And then you'll see on the right is Facebook and on the left is Instagram, but both have options to chat with the person who's doing the live video and they can talk back. So now that you're very well versed in all of these programs, let's just go over some basic internet safety. So you always just want to know what you're clicking on. You want to be very thoughtful with your passwords. Don't give your passwords out, change them often, and try to use different passwords for different sites. And then if someone is asking you to send money or gifts, just know that that is most likely a scam. You do not have to send people things. If you are uncomfortable, if you don't want to, or if you don't know them, do not do it. When I said you want to know what you're clicking on, a lot of viruses are hidden behind URLs or links. So only click on links if you know who they're coming from and if you know what it is. Do not ever give out your personal information. You want to always use good judgment. So if something just doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. You want to think before you post. So like Ashley said 2 weeks ago, you want to post with intention. You want to make sure that what you're posting is doing good and not hurting someone else or giving away too much information about yourself. And then remember that scammers prey on kindness. So you will most likely always get a sob story or asking for help, because that is how they get you to help them, right? That's how they scam you. Your social media activity is a reflection of who you are. So just because you delete something doesn't mean it's gone forever. There are a lot of sites, there are a lot of places we talked about the whole time about how different apps and programs might be recording what you're saying or what you're doing. So deleting it doesn't always get rid of it. Limit the amount of personal information you share online. Again, it's just super important. Do not give out everything about you. Kate from Facebook does not need to know your bank account information, and Estelle from HouseParty, who you just met, doesn't need to know your address. So just be very careful and conscious about who you're giving your information to. Don't accept friend requests from strangers. If you don't know them, you don't know them. If you're not trying to date or meet new people, there's no reason why you need to have strangers. This is how scammers get into your life. And then I talk about managing privacy settings, but if you click this link, it is a live link, you can get information on how to manage your privacy settings to make sure that you're not letting people know where you are. There are apps like Snapchat that have a feature where you can post pictures about where you are and let other people who are on Snapchat know where you are, but you might want to think about disabling that. Do some research to see who owns the platform you're using and how they make a profit. Some people make a profit by selling your information. Did you ever sign up for something, give your email to a company to sign up for a newsletter, or just giving them your email? And now you get all these spam emails. It's because they sold your information to other people. So do a little bit of research, find out if they make money based on donations only, or if they make money from ad revenue, or if they make money from selling your information. That might make you think twice about, using their program. You can also visit this website, ftc.gov/scams. Again, it's a live link. and you can educate yourself on all the scams. They have a lot of information about the most common scams, how to identify them, and how to protect yourself. And it's updated constantly. Always remember that caller IDs can be faked. There are a lot of apps out there where people can fake their caller ID. So just because you might recognize the number, but the person on the other end is saying something that doesn't make sense, you can ask for a callback number and then Google the phone number. So if you get a phone call from a company who wants you to verify your account number with them, ask for a callback number and then Google it. A lot of companies, I believe the majority of companies, have all of their information online. So their phone number should be attached to the company they say they are. And then also, if someone has scammed enough with a phone number, that will be listed on Google as well. And just a good rule of thumb is if someone is asking you for your information or to verify your information, have them give it to you first and then confirm it. If they're asking you to verify, they should already know what it is, but this is something that scammers do to try to get you to reveal your information. So just be aware of that. Here are a list of our resources. There's 2 pages, so it's basically just the websites that you can go to, and that is it. I'm just gonna check the questions, see how we're doing. Marissa, you asked, how do you record and save a Zoom session? So if you're scheduling a Zoom session, there's an option to record it in the advanced options we went over at the bottom, and it'll just automatically record to your device. When I say they can listen in and record videos, what do I mean? Who is they? The company, the app. So we talked about Google Meet. So Google Meet is not end-to-end encryption enabled. So that means Google reserves the right to record your session or listen in. They say it's for your protection should you know, someone have some legality against you, or they're just trying to save their own backs when with the Patriot Act. I'm not really sure. There's a bunch of reasons why different companies say they record for our benefit, but if it is not end-to-end encryption enabled, you should just always assume that the company is recording your session. So whether it's Google, whether it's, let's see, HouseParty, whether it's, you know, Marco Polo, you should just always assume that someone is having this recorded. And then the last question, can there be any way that someone has any form of sexual orientation with guys who love other guys? So are you talking about like apps? There are definitely apps that you can use if you have a specific orientation you're looking for or a certain person you're trying to connect with. You would just have to do a little research to see what's secure and what's available. And the resource, yes, definitely I'll show the resource slides again. Here we go. So we will be posting this also. You can go on our website. So if there's anything you wanted to recap or read again or see again, this will be listed up on our website. Also, we have the handouts. Don't forget to take those if that's something that you would need. And I just want to thank you all so much for coming to this webinar. I hope you have a good rest of the week.